anything he does right now, people have something to say. So he needs a platform to let people know that even if he beats Mahama one of the questions or one of the rounds,
that's all they need.
That's all they need to ride on.
Okay, so
exactly.
you think that's why Mahama too doesn't want to grant them
yes.
that debate?
Similarly, in 2020, Mahama desperately needed it to clear one or two things because the corruption tag was so deep that he wanted to clear some. They said no. But you there today, you want us to grant you the audience because you are on the chopping board now. People are, and for some weird reason, Bawumia was silent about corruption. And in fact, the NPP government right now, you hear very little about corruption.
Yeah, they say it's not top on the agenda. They've
corruption.
There are bigger things on the top of agenda, not corruption. Over the weekend, there were a lot of political activities, and one of which being the NDC manifesto launch. And after that, MPP also organized a press soiree, which many are saying it was out of devious means. We are going to get into all of that. And we are also going to get into the NDC manifesto, where they promise some 6 key points in resetting the country, Ghana. But in all, we are going to see whether all these effects impact on the general mandate the people want to give each political party. Kingsley.
Hi.
So, of course, Saturday, NDC launched their manifesto, and Sunday, MPP held a press soiree. So, before we come to the manifesto, I want us to look at the press confab being held by the NPP. What you make of it, and did they meet your expectations?
Generally, yes. I think fairly. They sort of met my expectations.
Okay.
But I think it's a good step because it's been, 5 years since we last had a sitting president, Nana Akufo-Addo, grant the media such an opportunity.
But that's serious.
That's bad, actually.
Yeah. A human rights lawyer. And since 2019, haven't met the press.
2019, 5 good years, almost. Yeah. It's bad. So the vice president availing himself now, I don't know if it was peer pressure, but even if it is, then it's a good one because he availed himself. He answered what he could, what he couldn't. You are saying we'll go into it. Yes. So I think it was fairly good.
So there are people also of the opinion that he didn't do justice to questions that were posed to him. One of the allegations are the fact that he wasted too much time on one subject. And the argument is that it's just a way so he can answer fewer questions, And other people are also saying, because some of the responses, like, if I do all the things now, what will I do if I become president? Some of the statements that he made about, he being called a liar, at least he's not being called a murderer, a drug dealer, like his boss. What do you make of all of these things?
So I watched it. I think it was 4 hours. I watched it throughout. And in the beginning, I felt it was scripted because where the first person was pointed to ask the question, they are saying they were claiming you are economic messiah and you are not. And that took almost 40 minutes for that question to be answered.
And maybe one will say he wants to answer it and answer it well. So he will take his time.
But in your quest to doing that, people are there to ask questions.
Right.
So if you want to answer everything, touching on every aspect of the economy, then you are trying to say, all of you, I'm trying to gag you or let you know that everything you want to ask, I've already answered. For that, I thought it was so unnecessary, if you ask me. But generally, some of his responses were also very dodgy. Some of the things, as a vice president, you tell us you don't know.
That's one thing that people were worried about. So let's take a sector like the cocoa sector, where people are claiming that this is one of your highest earners when it comes to your ticket items of what brings in revenue. And cocoa, gold is number 1. Cocoa is number 2. And you were asked the question on that the cocoa farmers are suffering, that industry is suffering. And his answer is, I am not aware.
To be fair, that wasn't his answer.
Okay.
The question specifically was, if he knew that Cocoa Board was near collapsing. And he said
Even that answer is even worse. Even
No,
maybe
no. He
even
didn't say he
even
didn't
quoting
know.
him. No,
No.
but
He said
if I am aware. So
No.
to start with,
like I said,
you are not in charge.
I followed proceedings.
Let's start from
So I'm saying that the question was, does he know or has it come to his attention that cocoa, because it was premised on the declining fortunes of our cocoa. Has he heard that the cocoa collapse, the cocoa board is near collapse because it's not financially stable of a sort? And he said,
Cocoa board is on the verge of collapse. I'm not aware of that, but we'll look at that. I cannot comment on that. It's not. I don't know where the data is coming from.
It hasn't come to his table or cabinet. And that I'll give it to him, because some of these allegations, we hear them in the news, we hear them until it comes to his desk, to be fair.
Your second highest earner.
That is supposed
And
to tell you
are not
that.
aware?
That is supposed to tell you that. It means that we've not gotten there like analysts or people are trying to make us understand. At some point, same for the SNET thing, right?
Right.
Recently, you heard the president saying that we should ignore everybody making claims that SNET will not be.
And he said it was unnecessary.
Yeah. So sometimes you sit back, you think, oh, the thing is bad, but maybe the people in it are saying, hey, that is why maybe if another government comes, we'll know all the truth in these things. But he is sitting in cabinet meeting and he's saying, none of these things have come to my desk.
Okay.
And truly, if he hasn't been briefed, I'm not sure he will know.
So MPP launched their manifesto before NDC did.
Yes.
And after that, they've decided that they are going to meet the press. So one would think that if you are meeting the press, is to furnish them with every detail concerning the country. And especially if you are someone who is in power. And then you come and we ask you a question, not on any sector, but your second highest earning sector. And then your answer is you are not aware that it comes to your cabinet. Then that is worrying. And you see, you brought the president also in. President also has been involved in deals where he has come out to say that he's been misled and all of that. So now, if we are encouraging leaders who are coming out and we are okay with them not taking accountability, then where is this country heading to?
No, don't get me wrong. This is not about accountability. The accountability is the first step of him even availing himself for the press to ask him questions. It's one thing availing yourself, and it's another thing if they ask you and you genuinely don't know. You don't know. You and I know he was struggling because we have put a tag on him as a liar.
So just before you continue,
Yeah.
it is true that if you don't know, you don't know. But you see, you are occupying a position where you are not even allowed not to know.
Oh, my brother. In as much as he's occupying a position, he's
You
human.
are not allowed.
See, the things he has to deal with in a day, you and I, sometimes we forget.
You don't have that luxury. You can't say you don't know.
My brother, I agree with you that we don't have that luxury, or he doesn't have that luxury. But if you don't know...
Even Mahama, who is not in power, you saw his press meet the press.
It was all I would do. He's not in the position right now.
At least, do you get the sense that this is a man who doesn't know what is going on in the country?
Oh, my brother. If you are outside and you are saying when I come, a lot of his responses, if you go back to the Mahama press, I tell you that I'll look into it. I'll look into it. What's that supposed to mean? It means he wasn't on top of it. And as human as we are, it is bound to happen. All I'm saying is that, yes, he doesn't have the luxury because of his privilege and the position he holds, but he's human. We are tagging him as a liar. If he comes out to say something that is not true, you and I will come back and say, this is why I said he's a liar. Right. He answered most of the thing, to be fair. If one thing he doesn't know and says, I'll follow up or look into it.
Well, anyway, so what do
the scholarship thing, for example, when he was asked that some students are being deported, some have been owed their stipends for almost 20 months. He said he doesn't know because it hasn't come to his notice.
It's very interesting and convenient for someone who holds lecture and asks all the economic questions, giving you the impression that I am an economic guru. I know WhatsApp all of a sudden is not aware of plenty things. But no problem. When he was questioned that, what does he make of being called a liar? And he's saying that at least he was telling someone that at least, well, I've not been called a murderer or a drug dealer like my boss. And then goes further to say, and I've not been called government official one.
You know what and then I think Ebukwansa was talking about people calling me a liar, and then you go, you know, and that is very. I said to someone, well, at least I'm not called a murderer as my boss was called, or I'm not called a drug dealer.
In my opinion, I think he's just trying to say.
When I heard the statement at plain sight, I was like, no, this is very worrying, because if my president is being accused by his second in charge, I would find it very worrying. So when I heard that, I was like, this statement is very off. And then he goes further to say, I'm not called government official one. So what are you saying? That, you are okay being called a liar, but you will not be okay if you are called a murderer or a drug dealer or government official one? Is that what it means? What do you make of that statement?
That's not a fair deduction to me.
So what do you make of it?
So if someone says, at least I wasn't called a murderer, I wasn't called a drug dealer, etc. What I deduced from what he said was that my boss suffered worse. So being a liar is like the lowest of the things, because if my boss was smeared with being a murderer and being a traffic dealer, drug trafficker, then it means that that's like the highest of the crimes you can think about. So for me, I feel like, and even adding the government official means that he knows that he has been cleared. So in that box or in that scenario, he's trying to say that all of these things, we put it on them and it's not true. But why would you think that if they put a liar on me, it is true? It's not.
Okay, Kingsley, you know what? If we discuss all of this press release, what will we discuss tomorrow? So we are going to leave it to the audience. Let them make their interpretation. Please tell us how you understand it in the comment section. And don't worry, this thing I have said, if we discuss all today, what would we discuss tomorrow?
I must have a manifesto. Otherwise, if I do everything now, if I could, what would I do when I come into office?
Now let's go into the key points.
Is also coming to do something he couldn't finish.
Exactly. So let's go into the 6 key points Mahama is claiming that he wants to use to reset the country. Okay, so let's look at the very first one. Right? So he made mention of the fact, so they are very heavy on governance and corruption.
Yeah.
They are very heavy on governance. So one pillar is introduce the no-fee stress policy. First-year students in all public universities, colleges of education, and nursing training institutions will be exempted from paying academic fees upon admission. I personally really like this, because reintroduce the Student Loan Trust Plus program to support continuing students in all public universities, college of education, nursing training institutions, so they can pay their fees.
We are to that.
so
next.
So he's lying to us, Hannah. Okay, introduce free tertiary education for persons with disabilities. I think this thing is long overdue.
Some of these things, they're already there. Yeah. He's just adding a spin to it. Because
establish the Ghana Medical Care Trust, into bracket, this is Mahama case. So to support the cost of healthcare for persons with chronic diseases such as kidney failure, cancers, provide free sanitary pads for female students in basic and secondary school. I am really for this policy, providing free sanitary pads.
But the National Health Insurance Scheme is already
poverty there. Period poverty is one of the things that are causing a lot of young girls to even not be in class, drop out of school, and even teachers, these male teachers and guys who are in the communities of these young girls actually take advantage of this period poverty, sleep with them, and then give them something meager in the name of trying to get them their sanitary pads and other things they will need. So for me, I am really for this.
We are happy when such things are being promised, right? But implementation, that's our problem in this country. Is it going to go through the headmasters, the headmistresses? How are we going to distribute it so they get it? Are the female teachers not going to hoard them? Or even the male teachers hoard them and go and sell them like they do with the food stuff we currently have in the boarding system? How are we going to make sure that it gets to the girl who can't afford?
I agree. I think we have said this on this show so many times that Ghana, one of our biggest problem is implementation.
Yeah, the policies and the laws are there.
But
the implementation.
It has always been
this one, they'll give somebody contract. Then instead of supplying 1 million parts, he will supply 50,000. They will shout, the rest won't come. And 4 years will come. And then the new government will say, when I come, I'll do same. And then the cycle still continues.
Right now. So when
one student, one chocolate.
Yeah, we were
one student, one laptop.
That was promised.
Has it been fulfilled?
We are waiting. There's still hope. We are
yes,
hoping
sanitary pad. We move.
So right now, in wrapping up, if you put the MPP's manifesto, NDC manifesto, and MPP's political journey in this 2024 so far, and NDC's political journey 2024 so far, who do you think that their actions and inactions are affecting or giving them votes? So if you look at maybe MPP, you look at how they have moved, their political strategies and all of that, you can boldly say that, okay, this will fetch them votes. This will cost them votes. You look at NDC too. You look at their manifesto. You look at their trajectory, how they've moved. This will cost them vote. This will win them vote. How can you do that for me?
For me, the manifesto should be put aside because these people, I don't trust them, MPP, NDC. Guess what? The book they've printed, they won't implement all that one. So that we lower our expectations in that regard. But in leading up to the election from now, I'll say MPP is more vulnerable because they are in government. They are fighting a lot of things. Incumbency, arrogance, scandals. Yeah. Anything they do or not do from now to December will affect them greatly than it will affect NDC because they have nothing to lose. If you ask me, they are already down. You are there and they are trying to push you out of the office. So it is NPP. Everything they do now, Bawumia calling for a debate now. He knows that it will help his fortune because anything he does right now, people have something to say. So he needs a platform to let people know that even if he beats Mahama one of the questions or one of the rounds,
that's all they need.
That's all they need to ride on.
Okay, so you think that's why Mahama too doesn't want to grant them that debate?
Similarly, in 2020, Mahama desperately needed it to clear one or two things because the corruption tag was so deep that he wanted to clear some. They said no. But you there today, you want us to grant you the audience because you are on the chopping board now. People are, and for some weird reason, Bawumia was silent about corruption. And if as an NPP government right now, you hear very little about corruption.
Yeah, they say it's not top on the agenda. They've
corruption.
There are bigger things on the top of agenda, not corruption. That's what it is. Well, for me, I have always maintained that we will get a clearer picture in the next 2 to 3 years because in as much as we really want to hope that the next government will come and change the fortunes, well, we have experienced both governments and we are still where we are. So now we are being skeptical, we are being careful. But for me, all hope is not lost and I still maintain that clarity will be seen in the next 2 to 3 years. Any final words? Then we'll wrap up.
So like I always say, this election, I've never seen an election in Ghana where voters are this confused because it's a battle between evil and lesser evil, as Manasseh puts it, and I agree totally with him. So, at this point, vote to punish or vote to reward. I leave it to you.
Vote to punish or vote to reward. This has been Sauce and Pepper. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Till we come your way next time, it's a bye-bye.
Hey, are you all right?